Alright, ebusuan mu bibia kwaba mfamra 2K ni sembloso ewo YouTube so say ebusuan for yaba as usual. Ensem ahodo a ekoso e organize na ebesu mahefo. Ene atifu nya na ebusuan de tinyina nse yese ade se justice Torkonoo. One Afenyo Markin enkomotwetwe bi atimi akoso ewo omontem. Na ebusuan enkoman ye pe ni behwe. Very interesting. Me person will be nya brewa bre kwa akwaje sa ensem ni nya emu enchimu pen ye ere aba Afenyo Markin NHS justice Torkonoo enkomodi ana se enchiemudi omudi ye no sei anana esitie ensembe ene course awasa ye meeting yenko jensem nya enchimu enfambra na make us so nya subscribe from my YouTube channel ya na do nsa subscribe to so you are now the bell notification icon so to so be next time bia no me drop video na nsa ka video ni bi enten so me din ere kwam gentle
in the work of the constitutional review committee, it's very clear that generally the nation is moving towards an independent judiciary, at least in the form of appointment. Let's not forget, even when the president doesn't appoint the justices, there are other ways the president can control. You remember Chief Justice Torkonoo, the current Chief Justice, said it, that at a point, Akufo-Addo was using money to control the judiciary. He would not release their budgetary allocations and thereby would be able to control them. So we'll still be then left with the financial independence. So perhaps the chairman of the Constitutional Review Commission, Professor Prempeh, should be looking at that angle too. How we'll strengthen it. Yes, currently on paper, they will tell you that, oh, when the judiciary send their budget, you can't cut it and the rest. But practically, there are ways of going around it. So perhaps the committee should be looking at how they can get the financial independence too.
Actually, now, but in this way, I bring in Lawyer Judicial because I just want to run up on this aspect of the conversation because it ties directly into the current state of affairs. Is there a real challenge that this call for the review of these powers will solve? Council.
I think that we are faced with an issue that we should not confuse matters. What we are discussing this morning relates to a press conference by the minority leader. He calls himself the mighty minority leader. What that means, I don't know. But what is not in doubt is that the minority leader says that there is an unacceptable attempt by the NDC to infiltrate the judiciary, and now says that civil society groups must condemn that act. And not only that, he invites all other persons, religious leaders and what have you, to tell President Mahama to stop what the Constitution says he should do. Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution is in clear terms. Thankfully, our Supreme Court had the opportunity to interpret Article 146 on the removal processes, particularly as it relates to a Chief Justice. Question: has President John Dramani Mahama done anything today not stipulated by the 1992 Constitution? Certainly the answer is no. Now, President Mahama, having assumed the office of President of the Republic of Ghana on the 7th of January 2025, has received 3 petitions. The petitions are to the effect that, based on the constitutional arrangement, the only that you can remove the Chief Justice or a Justice of the Superior Court is 1, through stated misbehavior, incompetence, or infirmity. As I speak to you now, I have not had the benefit of seeing the content of the petition. I have not seen it. Because if you recall, the Supreme Court in Franka J. Chum had provided a certain parameter that the entire process should be kept in camera. Strict confidentiality. So President Mahama, guided by this decision of the Supreme Court, has kept the petition under one of the principal advisors of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo on legal matters. Did not advise Akufo-Addo to give Charlotte Osei the benefit of these 7 days or 10 days. That is our record. So it is a mark of it. Let me say, it is hypocritical for my learned senior Afenyo Markin to do a press conference and suggest that President Mahama is doing something untoward. It's regrettable.
Well, no, he's not the one who holds that. The argument by the immediate past Attorney General is that to the extent that this injunction application is being heard, it behoves on the president to halt any process ongoing under Article 146 until the determination of that case.
You see, as for Godfred, I won't even talk about him for now. Let me deal with a major issue. You see,
that underlines the position that Markin has taken.
President Mahama's fidelity to the 1992 Constitution is something that should be celebrated. When he became president, he appointed a Shrad boss called Madame Vivian Loretta Lamptey. Now get something. Honorable Frank Anodompre, MPP MP, and another gentleman by name Richard Nyama brought a petition to President Mahama that the Shrad boss so appointed by him has misconducted herself, financial issues, and therefore were seeking the removal of the Shrad boss. President John Dramani Mahama, consistent with his character to uphold the rule of law, accepted the petition, forwarded it to the CJ then. The CJ then made a prima facie determination, and the Shrad boss, Madame Loretta Lamptey, then
an appointee of President Mahama,
was removed by President Mahama. Consistency. Today, as we speak, President John Dramani Mahama is in receipt of 3 petitions. I don't know the individuals. What has he done, having received these 3 petitions, to warrant that unprovoked, meritless provocation from Afenyo Markin? Has President Mahama done anything inconsistent with the 1992 Constitution? No. He received the petition. The Chief Justice said, President, I have become aware through a press release by your spokesperson, the Honorable Felix Kwachi, that these petitions are in your custody for my removal. Mr. President, before you make any comment further on this petition, Mr. President, I want to respond. The President said, well, I mean, that's fair. In fact, you should have actually spoken to me. Meanwhile, the letter requesting for it, you've copied other people. But that's beside the point. Your request is legitimate. I will give you 10 days to adequately prepare. Now, the president, having done this, was it consistent with the Constitution? Due process. He said, look, let everybody, you can't condemn a person without hearing, even though I differ. The president says, I will do that. Now, the Council of State or whoever is supposed to go into the merit or otherwise of it. If the Council of State so advise the president and advise that he is not bound by law, what you do, if he sees that there is a determination of prima facie, you do a 5-member committee comprising 3 justices and 2 quote-unquote civilians to determine whether it merits your removal. In the meantime, the president has the power to suspend you. Now, from the time of the receipt of the petition to date, has President John Dramani Mahama done anything outside the strictures of the Constitution? No. Now listen carefully.
I just want clarity. I'm told that there had been a ruling that says that if there is a petition against the Chief Justice, the President is not bound to give a copy of that petition.
No, so you see,
I'm just asking.
No, so you see, there were two schools of thought.
Okay.
That flowing from the Franka-Jechum decision.
Okay.
There is a lacuna. And that at this point, really, because personally, I think that when a petition comes and you respond copiously, it means that on the face of it, there is something that needs to be looked into.
Okay.
That's my view. And so I strongly believe that even at this point, the question of giving a copy to the person or respondent here is a bit, the Constitution itself is a bit silent on it.
Okay.
But President Mahama said, regardless, I will give you the opportunity, and gave her 10 days to respond. Now look at this. Afenyo Markin, who addressed the press, one of the principal legal advisors to Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo until he left office, was here when Madame Charlotte Osei's petition came. Faceless individuals. With all the issues, Madame Charlotte said through her lawyers, wrote to Mr. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo for a copy of the petition to respond. Eugene Ahin, the presidential gongon beater, then said, listen carefully, then said, it is not in the place of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to give Charlotte Osei a copy of the petition. Mahama didn't say so. Mahama said, have it. Madam Sophia Akufo, then Chief Justice, because it relates to, did the prima facie determination. Eventually, the president appointed a 5-member committee. My Lord Justice Benning, the late Justice Mafusa, Agnes Doji, Abrampa, and another woman. They went into the merit and said, look, there is grounds, and recommended the removal of Madame Charlotte Osei. It was a 3-2 majority decision. You understand? So that is our record. Has President Mahama today done anything outside what Akufo-Addo has done? In fact, he had even gone a step higher. The lawyer Akufo-Addo was not willing to give a copy of the petition. The non-lawyer John Dramani Mahama respected the request of her ladyship, the Chief Justice, and offered her. She even requested for 7 days. President Mahama.
Don't compare President Mahama to
Akufo-Addo. Please, gentlemen.
Mahama is
I understand you are unconstitutional.